Hey YouTube, welcome back to the TBM 900, and you join me here. Oop, start again. You join me here in Barton, a very rainy Barton yet again. I promise you that the UK isn't always quite this bad, but we are getting some pretty heavy rain, and by the looks of things this hangar that Orbex has made is not very well, it hasn't got a very good roof because the rain's coming in and we've got rain all over here. I'm supposed to be indoors. What's going on? So I thought I'd just do a little update video because I've now changed my graphics card to a 1080 Ti 11 gig VRAM, so I've got a bit more VRAM now, 3 gigabytes worth. And I've just been doing some tests really to see if there's any performance at all. I did do a video and then completely scrapped it, but I'm just trying to get the right balance, and now that I've got the reverb as well as changing my graphics card, it's, as you simmers know out there, it's a bit of a stressful kind of job trying to get the most out of your hardware. I've actually overclocked my CPU as well now to 4.8, and I do think that is definitely making a difference. I've also changed the asynchronous time warp projection thing in Steam to motion vector in the config file, and at the moment my frame rate is actually, considering I'm sat here with really heavy weather, active sky XP running, I've got AA on, full max detail, everything. Don't forget I'm in the HP Reverb with those incredible panels which just look so good. Everything feels pretty good at the moment, but we're gonna actually head today to RAF Cosford. I was there at the weekend for the show and oh, it was superb. Very lucky actually, because the weather has been like this in the UK for ages now. Well, it feels like forever, to be honest, but it does feel like it's been like just properly raining cats and dogs, shall I say, for lack of a better word. But on the Sunday we went to the show, the sun came out just for that one day, so I was able to ride up on the bike, which is fantastic. We saw the F-18 Hornet and the Typhoon display, among others. It was a really fantastic day, so I thought it's a really nice
oral warning, okay,
airfield to go to, so I thought we could nip over there as a bit of a test with this new 1080 card. Gotta say, this is actually feeling very, very smooth right now, so that's always good. Right, let's get this started up then. We're going to need a bit of light here because it is very dark. Hopefully you'll be able to see on the screen. But we want our ignitions on, we want our fuel pump on. We'll put some panel lights on.
TOS system test.
Make sure
okay.
that we have our parking brake set. I'm not actually lined up here. Need to just get centered. We've got our fuel and we've done our pre-flight already, so let's do it. Let's go and start this baby up one more time. Okay, we have a good start so far. Introducing fuel. Oh, I love this aircraft so much. Looking good. Bleed air on. Again, this is more HB Reverb action in terms of controller usage. I'm getting more and more used to these controllers. They're absolutely fine, no problems at all. I've changed the batteries once in them so far. They don't last as long as the Oculus Rift ones, but having said that, look at that light there. Look at, having said that, shall I say, wow, so I'm getting distracted by that. It just looks incredible, doesn't it? It really does. I don't know what the Rift S controllers are like, because obviously with the inside-out trackings feature, that's probably going to take up a lot more battery life. Right, okay. We'll just get our ATIS over here.
Echo Golf Charlie Charlie airport information Echo 1150 Zulu weather wind 011 at 6 visibility 10,000 sky condition ceiling 1500 overcast light rain temperature
very good.
13 dew point 11 altimeter 2985 advice on initial contact you have information Echo.
Thank you, that will do me. Right,
Echo.
let's go and find a runway. Right, okay, let's just put our headphones on and release the parking brake. So, with my tests so far, what are the improvements of the 1080 Ti that I've found? Not a huge amount. But I have noticed since I've changed the projection, the way it projects, I'm getting a lot smoother frame rate now. It's feeling really nice actually here. It's feeling incredible. It really, you get a sense of that wet, dark, gloomy day. Making sure I don't clip the wing of that helicopter. It's a bit tight around here, but we've just managed to get away with that. Okay, we're looking by the windsock. I think this 02 will probably be sufficient. Not 02, apologies. 32. But again, this is a worst case scenario. I am in the most difficult, high sort of demanding place I could be, with the most demanding aircraft and weather and everything. And everything is feeling pretty good. In the vector mode that I'm using, it is a little bit more sensitive to frame rate drops, but it's smoother overall, if that makes any sense. Probably not, but I kind of know what I mean. But I recommend, if you have a Reverb and you are struggling with a bit of sort of juddering outside the terrain with a reprojection system, I would recommend going into your VR config file and changing the auto to motion vector, I think it's called, or something like that. All of this has been actually in the DCS forums. I don't use DCS very often. In fact, I've only used it once or twice, and I've never tried it in VR. So that's my loss, because I know that it's incredible. Drew from the VR Aviators forum uses it all the time, and it just looks incredible. It looks amazing. So that is definitely on my to-do list. But just looking around the cockpit, reading everything, no problem. And because it's quite a dark, gloomy day, it really comes across in the Reverb really well. Apologies if you're getting a few sort of stutters or a few if the screen's kind of just freezing for a second. It doesn't look too bad in here, but it'll probably won't look as good on my monitor. I could just sit here all day, but anyway, we've got to get it going. I don't want to make this video too long. So, flaps. We're going to go full flaps for this short field takeoff, and we're going to sort our trim out quickly and set takeoff power. Little too much there. There we go. Everything's going to happen very quickly on this takeoff. 60 knots, 70 knots. Running out of runway. Scary. And we are airborne just.
Landing gear.
Landing gear
Landing
up
gear.
and flaps.
Landing gear.
Up one notch.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing
Wow.
gear.
It's not the best day out there, is it? It's not the best day. It's been a bit of a funny one changing from the 1070 to the 1080 because I nearly bought a 2080 Ti, nearly. But in the end I decided against it. Just by the astronomical price. It's just so expensive. It's just ridiculous. I can't justify spending that amount of money for the performance. If it made a huge difference in performance, I would buy one, no problem. I'll just go out and do it. But I don't really want to be selling limbs and remortgaging the house just to afford a graphics card. That's basically the same price as my whole system for about probably a 5 or 10 frame rate difference. To be honest, I think the 1070 is probably the best value card around. I've just realised I haven't set up my direct to, which I was just going to put a direct to COSFID, and I haven't even bothered yet because I'm just in awe of this incredible scenery. What we'll do is we will just climb out on this head-in, put the autopilot in, go up to 9,000, and we will put our direct to in. Which is EGWC. So really, there's been quite a number of different obvious performance benefits with this TI card. Namely being, I can now really crank up the AA. There we go. I'll go into nav mode now. I did a bit of a test. Had no AA at all. Then I tried it 2 times, 4 times and 8 times, and I just could not believe there was hardly any difference in frame rate. And one thing you do notice with these high-res panels is jaggies. Because you can see everything, nothing is left to the imagination at all. So any jagged lines, any shimmering is just amplified in this headset. So really, to get the real best kind of visual clarity, you need to put some a bit of AA in it as well. Now with my 1070 I wasn't able to do that, unfortunately, but with the 1080 Ti no problem at all. And that makes sense because it is a GPU thing. There's nothing, even in the OpenGL application that X-Plane uses, AA is something that is predominantly, graphics card related. So I'm kind of pleased, but I did expect at least a performance boost there. So we are only 13 minutes away already, so it's going to be a reasonably brief flight. Am I pleased I upgraded to a 1080 Ti? Well, yes and no. As I said before, I think the 1070 is probably the sweet spot for X-Plane at the moment, with the lack of Vulkan, the Vulkan API. You've really, with my card that I have now and my processor, it's overkill in some respects to X-Plane. It's all about the CPU single core performance, and hopefully that will change in the near future. So again, a bit like the Reverb, like I was saying in my last video, it's kind of a bit of an investment, kind of preparing for the future a little bit. But this is nice in here. This is not bad at all. Right, let's remember to take the landing lights off this time. Everything else is looking good. We could probably put our inertial separator off now, but we are still in a bit of cloud here. It's a very wet day again. I'm using Ultimate Weather XP 2.5. I set up pretty much all the settings to randomise because every flight's different then, and I'm always amazed with it. Does though, however, does sap a few frames, but I mean, just look, it's just gorgeous. You never know what you're gonna get. And I just can't get used to the lack of screen door, because this image here, right here now, that is a perfect example of when you would see in the Rift and the Rift S as well, where you'd be looking through pixels to see that white colour there. But it's just not anywhere. You can't see any pixels. If I really look, concentrate as much as I can, I could probably pick out one or two, but no, I just really can't. I really can't. It's amazing. It makes the experience so much more realistic. And you're probably shouting at me right now in the video saying, check your engine torque. Okay, 6 minutes out. Probably should check the weather really, but I'm almost a bit scared to be honest. In fact, we don't actually have a ATIS in the area, so I might have just cheat a little bit and use the map. So, as I said, I'm running everything maxed out here. Totally maxed out. And another thing I have noticed with the 1080 Ti is, well, I've got more VRAM, so when it's loading huge ortho textures, and I kind of fly all the time in over ortho like every X-Plane simmer does, because it's just so incredible and brilliant. Now I have that little bit more sort of leeway for those textures to load, which does help with stuttering and things like that. So we've got 800 feet broken. Oh my goodness. 40,000 view. Altimeter 2985. Yep, that's fine. Wind 340 at 7. Okay, we're going to be scud running here, like we did on the last video. And we need to start descending already. So I'm getting a few stutters here, which is to be expected, considering what I'm doing, what I'm flying, the headset I've got on. It's I can accept the fact it's not going to be completely smooth, and I think if I had a Rift S on my head right now, it would be a lot smoother. And that has been, I guess, my biggest sort of decision to make. But as I'm tweaking and messing around with settings, I'm getting there now. I am getting there. And bearing in mind I am recording, so I lose a fair few frames just doing, especially using, I think it's NVIDIA Shadow Play I'm using for this recording. But as of the time of this recording, I don't think the Reverb is still available. I really feel for anybody who really wants one as bad as I did, because I was just getting so fed up of waiting. I'm just a child when it comes to waiting for things. I'm quite impatient, and as soon as I saw that they went on sale. That was it. I got the bank card out, which has taken quite a hammering this week, to be fair. In less than about 5 days I've bought a 1080 Ti and a Reverb. So I'm going to have to, I actually need to go and get some better cooling for my computer, because even though I am running at 4.8 on the on my CPU, it probably will be running a little hot, so I do need to get better cooling. It's another perfect example where we are IFR right now. It's just all white outside. And actually I will say just a couple more things about the Reverb. One is, when you do look at a completely solid white colour, you can see the outline ever so slightly of the lenses. I don't mean God rays as such, but just like the rings. You can see them, but that is a trade-off I'm willing to make if you consider how, well, for the price, this headset is actually very, very cheap, considering the kind of resolution and panels that we can now all enjoy. I actually don't know what frame rate I'm getting here. Have a quick look. Okay, so we're about 30 odd frames a second. So the 1080 Ti, in terms of real raw frame rate, bearing in mind I am running settings higher anyway, it's not the best upgrade if you're wanting, say, an extra 20 frames per second. It's just not going to happen in X-Plane. But you can crank up some of the other settings. I can have my LOD radius is a lot higher now as well. I can see more buildings. And as I say, everything is just a bit crisper. If I'd have bought a 2080 Ti and had this same kind of performance, which I would have done, the 1080 Ti or the 2080 Ti isn't going to yield that much difference at this point in time. And for the sake of 1,500 quid, I don't think I'd have been as chuffed with my purchase, to be honest. But again, if you can afford one and money's no object, then again, it's probably an investment to get one, although I think I have heard that Nvidia are planning to release either newer versions of the 2080 Ti or a completely new graphics card in a not so distant future. So I'd be pretty annoyed if I'd just spent all that money and then a month or so later something else comes out. It's the joys of PC hardware, of course, but I don't know, that would sting a little bit, I think. Right, autopilot off. We are gonna, I think what we'll do is we'll go overhead, and so we're gonna cross from the dead side to maybe a left downwind. I can see the airfield, even though we're 1,200 feet here and we can see the airfield okay, so that's good. I'm happy with that. Inertia separator on. Landing lights on. Ultimate weather is giving us a few little lighting issues here, I've noticed. Sorry about that. Oh, this is just so wonderful. The fact that I don't ever have to
sync rate,
zoom in or really concentrate at any of the gauges. I can see a lot further, and the sweet spot is something I didn't mention before. We're getting a few stutters again here now, but it's not making me nauseous or anything like that, just it's fine. But the sweet spot in the Reverb is definitely noticeably better than the Rift S. It's not amazing, but it's certainly better. I can move my eyes around without moving the headset and see quite a lot of the gauges. There's still that blurriness around the edges, which is more noticeable because of that sharp centre. Okay, right. Let's see if we can not make a mess of this landing.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Don't worry, Betty, we're
Pull
fine.
up. Pull up.
I am
Pull up.
quite a steep approach here.
500.
Sync rate. Pull up. Pull
You sure
up.
everything's fine?
Pull up. Pull up. Sync rate.
Chill out, Betty, it's fine. I've got this. Trust me. I'm a professional. Right. This is feeling good. Feeling nice and smooth. I think I have actually finally found the correct projection. Whoa.
Airspeed.
That works for me. Which, as I say, is the only real weakness of this headset, is the rudimentary sort of ASW projection technique. But it will get better. You know, there's like an update coming every week at the moment. So, and I think with the advent of some of these Windows mixed reality headsets, I'm hoping that it's going to be a reasonably priority thing for them to sort out. Okay then, thank you for, if you have watched this, I really appreciate it. I hope I haven't wasted your time too much, but I'm very happy I got the 1080 Ti. It's just that little bit better performance. I can crank up some of those really important settings. I've got, like, this runway here, not runway, this taxiway here before was all jaggy. That building there, the hangar, would kind of be shimmering, and yeah, it's not the end of the world, but like, say that Cessna there, I can see the wings on that and they are perfectly straight. There's no shimmering or anything. That is thanks to the 1080 Ti, which is superb. Okay, I won't bother shutting down on the video and all that kind of stuff. I'll just end it there. But thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you again in the future. Bye bye.